Aha, now I remember what I was saying. I was talking about how when something inside of us, an experience, is assigned words to it, then we have given it some structure. That thing, that resentment, that shame, that something. When we give it structure, that also means that it usually comes in the form of a sentence. And in a sentence lies inherent structure. Structure between things. Each thing is a word, and then the sentence connects these associations and it brings cause and effect together. Like, the apple tasted sweet. Okay, then we know that there's an apple, that we know that we tasted it, and that the taste of it was sweet. There is the concept of apple, of my own taste, of sweetness, and then language together, it just melts them together. And the apple. The apple. Which apple? There was the apple. There was a particular apple in emphasis. All of that meaning gets encoded. And see how simple, even with such a simple sentence, whatever was expressed is now deconstructible. For example, in the example I was saying before, when I said, oh, I just realized suddenly the words of I feel lonely, and then suddenly I can deconstruct the experience a little more. Because it sounded true, it felt true. I feel that's the key to knowing when something is worth looking into more. Does it sound true? Does it feel true? And then I said suddenly, the words came, I feel lonely. And then, okay. First of all, I knew it had such an intense emotional value. And then suddenly I had three words. I had I, myself, feel, there is an emotion happening, lonely, there is loneliness. That association, the association of this loneliness to me and knowing that I felt it, was the thing that I was rejecting. Oh, not so much the thing, but the thing that, the assumption that I made that, oh, that makes me less worthy. And so when I stated it out, even in my mind, and it felt true, I was also able to separate things, because there wasn't just a feeling of frustration, unexpressed, unknown frustration. It was suddenly an expression of an emotion. Loneliness. Ah, I named it. And I feel that. So that first it sharpened the definition of what it is. It was a blurry thing, and then suddenly, I was able to give it a name. Loneliness. Okay. And not only did I realize, okay, give it a name, I also detached it from myself. Because in the sentence, I feel lonely, it's not I am lonely, I am the lonely one, I am loneliness. It is not I am loneliness, it's I feel loneliness. Upon this simple sentence, there is a separation. It is saying, hey, here is you, and here is loneliness. And I am feeling this thing. I am not this thing. Sometimes I feel loneliness, sometimes I don't feel loneliness. Right now I feel it. Okay. And then acceptance feels simpler, because it is a temporary state. First of all, it is a defined thing. When it is defined, when it is known, it is less prone to cause fear. Things that are unknown cause fear, most usually. Because we fear there's something unknown that we know, oh, I don't want that. Or something actively repellent that we know, okay, I don't want that. I do posit that anything, even disgust or things that, okay, are denied upon, are based on fear. No. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. But there is fear. And so this fear I had of being someone who felt lonely just got assuaged by that simple sentence. By recognizing, oh, I feel this. Because in doing so, I recognize the temporary relationship between me and the feeling, and I recognize that it is a temporary association. It is not a forever association. Do I always feel lonely? No, I don't always feel lonely. I feel lonely now. And then just upon holding that concept, I feel lonely for a while. It feels true. There is an easier acceptance because I'm not identifying with the loneliness. I'm just feeling the loneliness. And then it integrates. It's just softer. And when it softens and integrates, then each time I realize that fact, that something similar, that sentence of I feel lonely, it has less of, it feels less sharp, it feels less like, less intensity. Next time it's like, oh yeah, I feel lonely, I don't like it. But I've known it. It's not new to me. I figured it out at some point. Now I see it again, and okay, maybe it doesn't feel pleasant, yet I feel it. It's easier to admit. The first time when something comes out of pristine shame, it is held together. It is stuck. It is like we're trying to get inside of it when there's the first layers are just they won't give. Once a little light has been shed inside and we know a little bit about it, then diving in again seems less fearful. Because we have recognized at least once that it's there. There's no need to deny it, because one time we did not deny it, we accepted it, and we are still alive, and we are here. Moreover, this time that I feel it, there's no need to hide it. There's energy used when we hide things, when we actively push against the pressure that is trying to be expressed. It takes energy to hide it, to conceal it, to pretend it's something else. And releasing the pretense just allows everything to be expressed. It releases those processes that we have inside that are trying to keep the image, that are trying to keep all the leaks from pulling out. Oh no, don't get out of here. And then suddenly, if we allow the flow, we don't need to spend energy holding it. It can just flow. It can just move. I feel sometimes people have fear that, if I let it go, then I will always be someone who's just crying all the time, and I don't know, I don't want to be that person. And in my experience, one doesn't lose the ability to hold. One doesn't lose the ability to block ourselves. or to hold, to say, okay, there's this flow coming, and to choose, okay, not now. One doesn't lose that ability. One simply recognizes that one doesn't need to hold it anymore. And then we can allow, and then maybe there's tears, and then maybe there's screams, and then maybe there's expressions of something. Yet it flowed. And perhaps at some point we say, okay, that's enough. And we hold it. Just however, due to that catharsis, just imagine how much less pressure is here, because much of it has been released. After accepting something we were ashamed or afraid to accept, the unpleasantness felt inside often diminishes. The unpleasantness ameliorates. It might be the same flavor, it might be the same quality, the same memories. They just are not as sharp. They're not as intense. They're not boiling, ready to explode. They are like, perhaps still hurt a little. Perhaps still ache. Yet they're not as explosive as ever they were the first time. Most importantly, we can choose what to do with it. That is a capacity that we hold for our self-memory, and more of our mental memory, since it allows the subtle concepts to be absorbed. If we realize, okay, I feel loneliness. I don't always feel loneliness. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Our mind can begin to realize there's a pattern that feels, first of all, loneliness is not something that kills us. It's not something that we need to avoid at all costs, nor the admittance of loneliness something to be avoided at all costs. It is just another part of our experience. And if we can accept it, then we don't need to use up energy in hiding it. And in ways that I don't quite understand, the emotional body processes everything. It moves things through. There's no need to hold. There's no need to pretend to have one emotion when we have another. It just flows, like urine flows out of the body. Processed emotions flow out of the emotional body. Whatever way we want to represent that. Because the truth of our experience is ours. Believing that someone else imposes it upon us gives away our power to that other thing. that can impose, that can choose our experience. Influences exist. We are influenced by the bodies and events outside of my body. Yet my experience, my choices, they are mine. And I feel it is quite common to believe that we are not in control of our own lives. Commonly for someone who lives in cities like I have for most of my life, I've learned to depend almost completely on the infrastructure that human society has built for us. I have allowed myself to depend upon roads, grocery stores, pharmacies, hospitals, lawyers, manufacturers of electrical appliances. And so quite a part of me has learned to believe that the choices I have are someone else's prerogative. Because I did not choose where the roads were built. I did not choose what products the grocery store would avail. I did not choose which lights they were to be used in the road infrastructure. I did not choose which appliances exist in the kitchen. It was all kind of like chosen for me. And that's all good. It's working as intended. We have someone made technology, we use technology, and we build upon it. Excellent. The issue is, sometimes we as people end up believing that that is all that is. That those are all the possibilities. Oh, those are the appliances that they make? I guess that's it. That's what they got. Can we make something else? I don't know. Let's see if they make them. Will they make a phone that has these characteristics, this camera or this processor? I don't know. They should make them. Oh, they should put this camera on this phone. Oh, they should put a 3D sensor. I don't know why they don't do it. It's like, okay, they can, the manufacturers. And we don't, because we don't have the power of of mobile phone manufacturing in our own houses. That is a product of quite complex logistics, design, economy, a global refinement of matter and of skills, a piping of skills and matter, all in the end to give us, well, mobile phones, communication, cameras and computers that we end up recording into and looking at for YouTube videos and for cartoons and for TV series, science fiction and erotica and cooking shows We don't make these things. We don't choose these things. Because it requires quite a lot of refinement. However, it's easy to begin to feel an impression that we are not in control because all these things in the world, all these phones, all these appliances, all this internet, all this infrastructure, all these shops, all this food, we don't make them. Someone else is making them, and we're just like, we need to play the game, where the game is there. If you want to survive, you need stuff. And stuff includes food, shelter, clothes, and money. Stuff. You need to survive. You want to survive. To survive, you need these things because you live in a city. And because you don't know how to grow up your own food, you grow your own food. They didn't tell you how to grow your own food. Okay, you need to get food from someone else. And our body says like, oh yeah, I want food. And then they say, okay, here's the food. Cool. How do I get the food? Oh, you need to give us money. And we're like, oh, okay. So we get money. How do we get money? And then they're like, oh, well, the economy will show us, oh, well, here are all the options available. You can do this or this or this or this or this or this or this. And the choices seem to be already made for us. Like, oh, someone chose all of these roles. I can be a construction worker, a software engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, a fireman, a clerk, a post office worker, a trash person, a graphic designer, a movie director. Sometimes it seems like there are already boxes, like, oh, I can only be one of these things. What I think happens there is that there is a confusion. There's an overlap of definitions where there is our role, a desired role to be done, to be had, for tasks to be done, and what we choose to do. So the choice of career in some way, or the choice of finding out how to make money, is often the same as which role are you going to play in society, which employment are you going to take, which translates roughly to what value will you give others so that they will give you their value in the form of money. And money is this particular invention that just seems almost essential to life in society. Because of how much each of us has disconnected from the raw functions of life. I am disconnected from my food supply with the earth, because there was a time where most every person had direct responsibility for to get their food. Not just to get their food, to create their food, because there was no food. There was no food available, readily available on a shelf or in a pot to be eaten. There was nature. And there was food to be found in some of nature. It just requires effort to go and do it. And so go and do it. And we did it. Some of our ancestors in our species went and figured out how to get enough food to survive. And at some point, people figured out how to make more and more and more and more food, to productionize, to industrialize food production. And then, well, people realized not everyone needs to make food. Some people don't need to make food at all. They can just count. They can just get all the numbers and put everything in order, and they will write everything down. They will be the structure giver to the transactions in some company. And then if they do that, well, perhaps they don't have time to grow food. But it's okay, because someone else grew enough food, and they're willing to give you some of it for some of the money. And if I, as a person, I'm interested in counting things, and I'm good at it, or I like that to do that, and what I do provides value to some other person, and they give me money for it, then the flow continues. It's like I detached myself from the earth. I was here. First, I was doing everything with the earth, but at some point I found, I can actually do this instead. And then someone else is getting the food, and I'm providing value for this person. And then they flow. The food flows to another person, to me, not directly from the earth. So it changed from a horizontal structure where almost everyone was directly connected to the earth, and then suddenly we started climbing on top of each other, figuring out that we can climb on top of each other, and that we can provide each other with the resources that each other needs. A metal worker suddenly found, I can make metal for everyone. And then they made machines, and they said, oh my god, I can make metal for everyone, for more people, or for more stuff, big metal, or different kinds of metals, special metals. And then they didn't need to grow food. And a lot of other people realized, we don't need to be making food all the time. And it has value because it seems to me people who are not directly connected to the earth on an economical sense, they are working with lighter realms. They are not as dense as the earth. They are a little lighter, a little subtler. And upon these realms, there is just more undiscovered. There is much undiscovered there. It is my feeling that we as humans are flowing the energies, the subtle energies, down into this world through our bodies to give it manifestation, to give it some kind of manifestation. We are in some way pipes and filters and distillers, refineries of these energies, and processors that somehow bring them out into the world and give them physical manifestation. An example that feels true to me is emotions. Emotions seem impalpable. Where's the emotion? Where's the sadness? Are you sad? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't feel it. I just feel your skin. Where is your sadness? It's not commonly known as a palpable thing. Yet it is real. It is part of our experience. And though there is the debate of whether emotions are a simple biochemical illusion, that does not feel true to me. What feels true is that these emotional energies exist, and we perceive them, and we process them, and we manifest them. Expressions of emotions are exactly a physical manifestation of an emotion. If I feel anger and I express it, I shout, ah! Right there, it is being manifested as it is. There's a statue of someone made and someone is angry, or drawings of someone angry, or scripts, theater plays where someone is angry, or someone is showing joy, or someone is showing ecstasy. All of these are expressions of it. And in particular, I feel that an interesting manifestation that we have made of emotions is we have brought them to our own faces, right here. Certainly not intentionally. Like I was not my intention to create faces that have emotions. However, we humans are, by observation, we're the ones who express emotions most physically, directly in our bodies. Directly. It's like, right here. I'm surprised. Or I'm sad. I'm depressed. Horny. Or joyful. Like, no, joyful is more like, or happy, just content. Right here, the face, disgust, shyness. Our entire bodies are doing it, but I mean, other animals, I also see them project emotions. Dogs put their tail under their legs. Animals run away. There's expressions of fear, where the body just sticks up. But the face, the expression of an emotion through a face, it is unique. I mean, monkeys start to have it a little bit more. We just have it in such a refined manner. The most refined I have seen of all the species. Other beings communicate a lot. I know that there are these sea animals who can change their skin really well, the cuttlefish and the octopus, and they change their skin and they're actually communicating something. Could be emotions, I don't know, could be thoughts, whatever. So maybe they also have a physical manifestation of an emotion. However, it seems to me that we, humanity, we have brought out another expression of emotions. And it's right here. and we integrated it into our bodies. And now we continue with it, and we just have it. We have it. It's like it's one of the recent developments of humanity. The emotional face. I can project feelings right there. Oh. I have no idea what that emotion was. Or supercilious. Suspicious. So that's an example that I mentioned about us being able to, well, process, to refine the emotional energies and bring them down to the world, to physical manifestation. The shapes of my eyes, the amount I open them, the direction I move my cheeks, the wrinkles I make on my forehead, the muscles I stretch in my face, all of the muscles, all the combinations I can make. Like we gave ourselves space of expression right here. And we can feel it. They are intricately linked to emotions. That is natural. We feel it. We see a smile. We feel the smile. We see angry. We feel the anger. We feel the distortions. I feel some fear of expressing myself as I am right now. As it is quite raw. I am imposing very few filters on me to say what I want to say. And part of me feels afraid that doing this can damage my reputation. Because as I grew up, I used to build part of my identity as someone who is correct, who holds truth. I feel that's my core association with myself. That feels truth. And then I simultaneously learned that truth and science are very closely linked. and that science was the thing to do, the avant-garde of the world. If you knew science, then you know more about anyone else because you know the fundamentals, you know the workings, the inner workings of things. So science, yay. Science, yes, science is truth. Because science seeks truth. That's the objective of science. Cool. Then science and truth. It's like close association. Learned. Science and truth. And then at some point I also learned, science rejects the unseeing, the unprovable. I was going to say specifically religion and spirituality, but science rejects the unprovable because its nature, its design is to accumulate knowledge, to develop knowledge to develop knowledge via observation, experimentation, and proof. Successful enough experimentation to convince ourselves that something is truth. So when something is presented and said, and oh, that's unprovable, that's not something that I can touch, that I can test. If it's not something I can test, then it's rejected by science. It is poppycock. It is fluff. Unnecessary fluff. All that emotional stuff. All the whatever. Yeah, you're sad. Get over it. You'll be fine tomorrow. Eat some chocolate. It'll make you feel better. Oh, you're depressed. Oh my god, your brain is a little off. Just take these pills. These mood... What is it? Mood regularizing pills. You'll be fine. It tends to discard emotions because they are not proven. They cannot be tested with. Certainly not with our current instrumentation. Or with the current will of science? No. That's not the way it's going. However, it's a very real part of our experience. Anyway, as I learned that, hey, science and truth, they're pretty linked together because science seeks truth. Okay, and it's genuine. Science seeks truth genuinely. Good. Genuinely. And then I realized, okay, science rejects emotions. Science rejects religion, rejects spirituality. And then suddenly I get like, oh, okay, then I guess if I feel truth, if that is my core feeling of like attraction towards truth, then I reject emotions and spirituality. Just transitivity. Modus ponens. That's not modus ponens. But transitivity. By association, I just convinced that, suddenly believed that, these two things are together, and these two things are together, and these two things are together, and then this means that these two things must be together. Truth rejects emotion and spirituality and religion. And because I often saw people in the science field reject and even mock those who invented emotions, religion, or spirituality. I believe I just got into the habit of imitating that and rejecting emotions, religion, and spirituality. And I could say that, okay, that means that I will just not care too much about others' emotions or about others' spirituality. However, what it actually ends up being, if the belief is there, is that it reflects upon me and I begin to reject my own emotions and my own spirituality. I reject it because I reject it, because I'm meant to reject it, because truth rejects that. So no, I don't want it. I don't want it. That is at the core level. At the branch level, there is also the point that if I see that I am interested, I am expressing freely with emotions and with spirituality, and if I am seen putting my interest in it, there is a fear inside that has grown that people with a scientifically motivated mind or scientific education mindset would reject me. And that seems upon first impression something I would not like. I don't like rejection. Many of the people I know are scientifically oriented, have a scientific mindset, have a scientific faith. I don't want to lose my. I have pleasant feelings, emotions about some of these people. I would not like our relationship to be broken. So I am a little afraid. I used to feel a little afraid of expressing my point of view, my opinions on emotions, religion, and spirituality. First in person, especially in public. Especially now that the internet is so fluid and any video can just be transmitted so quickly from one person to another, just a link, just a chat, just a download, and then it's there forever, not in my control anymore. The expression has left me, and people can do whatever they want with it. So that's a part of the fear. It's softer even now. Another word for something I feel the persona I have built doesn't want to lose is credibility. I like my opinion to be valued. At least I like it to be considered, listened to. I have a natural inclination towards my opinion being listened to. Yes. So the concept of it not being listened to, of becoming unlistened to pariah feels a little fearful sometimes. Yeah, now a little. Like, oh, is this the last thing that people will listen to from me? That people will actually pay attention to? If I publish this, am I excluded from science clubs? Excluded from the math club? I'm not even part of a math club or a science club or any of those things. Yet the fear is there. Our patterns remain in us. All the social structures we learn, they remain until processed. We choose how long they remain. We choose to keep some that we feel have a benefit on us. We choose to let go of some when we feel there is no further benefit from them. It is when we do not choose that blockages and interruptions of the flow occur. It is when we do not choose because we don't even know what is happening inside of us. That we suffer. And there is struggle, natural struggle, to move from not knowing and from not being able to into knowing and into being able to. That transition often requires struggle. Because in those often cases, something is blocking us. Likely a feeling of fear or shame. These are fears that usually keep us away enough from our own stuff that we don't want, that we don't feel we are, that we just want to keep somewhere outside of us, even though they're inside us, and we're like, trying not to be part of it, or trying to make them not part of us, but they're still there because they're still there, because they're not processed. That's what doesn't allow us to choose, because that rejection of us, that denial of the truth, keeps us outside of the truth. It keeps us outside of recognizing that is a thing. It is a thing. I may not like it, or I may like it a bit too much, but it's a thing. While we do not accept that it's a thing, it's just there. and it can grow and hurt, or it can fester and decay and cause damage. Or perhaps it's a perfectly good functional piece of us that helps us function in our everyday lives. And sometimes there are things that actually are causing us benefit and we are not choosing it. We are not aware of it. Our entire body is maintaining our homeostasis constantly, all of our lives. And we're not choosing it. The body has just learned to do it. So a lot of it, most of it, look at all this blood running through these hands. Look at all these joints that stretch and flex and can do so many things. And of the freedom that we have in our bodies. That takes a lot of maintenance. I'm not choosing any of it. So most of the automatic things that happen inside us, amazing. Some of the automatic things that happen inside of us, they get stuck. They get stuck in cycles of reactions that are kind of loops where we do not know how to get away because it's shameful, but that's what the problem is. But no, I don't want to see it because it's too much of a problem. We have not learned to deal with this particular pattern of shame yet, I imagine, as a collective, because I noticed that it still exists out in the world. Shame. It hides the truth from ourselves. It thinks it's hiding it from other people. That's not the core. We may feel it like that. It's hiding it from ourselves. We don't want to see it. And if we do not see it, we do not have any jurisdiction over it. It's not ours to choose. It is while we reject it, while we deny it, we do not have the reins on it. We do not have its bridle because we do not want to touch it. Once we touch it, once we realize that it can be seen, that I can see it, that I see it, then I can influence it. And if it is unpleasant and causing suffering, learn to dissolve it. An infected wound requires alcohol, disinfectant, to be placed right on the wound where it hurts. And the feeling does not feel good. It's not pleasant. Yet it heals us enough for the body to take care of the rest. I posit it is the same for our emotions. when there is a wound, emotional tissue may come around and try to protect it, like fear and shame. However, it requires a conscious seeing, a conscious going into to be able to heal it. At least a conscious acceptance of it. And that helps process it.